Ray. The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball.
Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win. Now the 2-1.
Line drive to the base. Just as the score the tying run. Green to the plate. And he is safe. Safe at the plate. The Braves go to the World Series.
They have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines that sat when they were children and cheered their heroes.
Gibson swings and a fly ball to deep right field. This is going to be a home run. Unbelievable!
A 3-run home run for Bucky Dent. The Yankees now lead it by a score of 3-2.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mazeroski has hit a 1-0 pitch over the left field fence at Forbes Field to win the 1960 World Series.
They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children, longing for the past.
The Pope arrived at Yankee Stadium. As one enthusiastic announcer put it, he is standing on second base.
Reggie Jackson. Long drive right field. It is goodbye. Big World Series for Reggie Jackson.
The Blue Jays are World Series champions as Joe Carter hits a 3-run home run.
Brackett throws. There's a left back. It's going to be, I believe, the Giants from the pennant. The Giants from the pennant. The Giants from the pennant.
The 0-1 pitch. A liner off Nagy's glove into center field. The Florida Marlins have won the World Series.
The memories will be so thick that I can brush them away from their faces.
The 1-0 delivery to Fisk. He swings, long drive, left field. If it stays fair, it's gone. Home run. The Red Sox win. And the series is...
Lonage fires. Ball is hit high in the air. This should be the series. Freehand waving everybody away in foul territory. Detroit wins.
Here's the pitch to Willie. Here's a liner straight to Richardson. The ball game is over and the World Series is over. Willie McCovey hit it like a bullet. A line drive right
Baseball to mark the time.
The Oakland A's take. I'll tell you what, we're having an
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Candlestick Park for Game 3 of the 1989 World Series.
It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again.
Frank Robinson, the right-hand batter.
long drive to left field. Leva. Gets it to back. Home run.
Base hit loaded, 1 out. Pena in a chance. The Twins are going to win the World Series. The Twins have won it.
Ozzie with 1 out. Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. It's a home run. And the
Willie Mays just brought this crowd to its feet with a catch, which must have been an optical illusion to a lot of people.
This field, this game, is a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good, and it could be again.
Broadcasted live.
Who wants to have some fun?
There are balls coming from all over the place. Left field, center field, right field. See, this is the kind of thing, quite honestly, right now, that makes you want to see the Chicago Cubs team lose.
Now, you just saying you want to have fun, or do you really want to have fun?
It'll be fun.
Will the next person that sees anybody throw anything onto this field, point them out, or get them out of here? You don't live in Cleveland. You live in Cincinnati.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
That is the farthest thing in the universe from the truth.
Hello, everyone, live. It's the Dan Scott Show. And right there is your host, Dan Scott.
Well, thank you, Howard, and good morning.
welcome to the show. It's the final show of a short week for us here because of Thanksgiving tomorrow and travel on Friday and travel on Saturday, and we'll get into all that coming up here in just a bit. But we are very happy to have you with us. I am Dan Scott. Forrest is out this week, so I've been flying it solo and looking forward to spending the next hour with you here on the pre-Thanksgiving edition of the Dan Scott Show. Now, some of you last night, and I know that some of you were watching what was going on just because of who I can see in the Facebook Live chat, are wondering, why are you in your office and not at home? Because last night I spent a considerable amount of time and Facebook Live time and everything else time getting home office studio set up, sound right, try to get the picture right, with every intention of doing the show at home this morning and kind of, for lack of a better term, trying to relax a little bit. So I got up this morning with that intention and suddenly realized I got to come to Greenville anyway, because normally Thursday is the day that I do all of my pregame interviews for the Saturday football broadcasts. Thursday is Thanksgiving. So guess what Dan has to do on Wednesday? Yeah, Dan has to come over here and do the pregame interviews football-wise for the game on Saturday. So all that work last night and bothering people online with the probably 6 or 7 different versions of the video as we were trying to get the sound adjusted and everything. I won't say it's for nothing, because now we've got it set where I can do the show from home. But ended up having to get up and come over here in the morning anyway. And you know what? That's fine. That's fine, because that means instead of talking to him on the phone at 10:45 when we visit with Furman linebackers coach Ken Lamendola, he'll actually be sitting right here beside me here in the studio. That's one of the things we have coming up on the program this morning. Elsewhere, and you may have seen the graphic a few moments ago, a little Furman Elon preview for you. And how about all of the honors that were bestowed upon Furman football personnel yesterday? Clay Hendricks, Coach of the Year, the blocking award to Matt Schmidt, all conference performers, all freshman team performers. We're going to run you through that whole list coming up here in just a little bit. As mentioned, Ken Lamendola will be with us at 10:45. At 10:25, Dave Glenn, ACCSports.com, will be with us, as he is every Wednesday, to talk all things Atlantic Coast Conference. And then coming up at the end of the program, we may run over 4 or 5 minutes once we're finished with Ken. But the Thanksgiving tradition that I talked about yesterday that has always comes up. And as I mentioned, I've been away from the Clemson radio station for 6 years, almost 6 years now. And still, to this day, people send me this video clip. Well, with the program that we're using to stream the video, not only can I play the audio of WKRP's Great Turkey Drop, but I can actually show you the video. So we're looking forward to that coming up here at the end of the program today. So we've got a busy day on our schedule, busy agenda for this final show of the week. And just to kind of give you an idea as to what transpires from here, we'll spend tomorrow, obviously, doing Thanksgiving with the family and relaxing and giving God thanks for everything he's done for us, and eating and watching a little football and doing what you do on Thanksgiving Day. And then I'll be meeting Tom Van Hoy here at 5 a.m. on Friday, and he and I are driving to Nashville to do the 1 o'clock basketball game between Furman and New Hampshire on the Furman IMG Sports Network. Tom will be staying in Nashville with the team, and I'll be driving back after the game. Tom will do the Saturday game against Northeastern on FurmanPaladins.com via Stretch Audio, while I'm driving with the radio crew to Elon to do football on Saturday morning, or actually Saturday afternoon. But the pregame show begins at 11:45 for a 1 o'clock kick. So we're going to be rolling up the miles, going to be in two different places, but you'll be able to catch both broadcasts. And the basketball broadcast will start on and run exclusively on FurmanPaladins.com via Stretch Audio. And Tom will be working with Jordan Caskey on that Saturday game against Northeastern. So we look forward to having you with us for all of the broadcasts, and look forward to a big weekend, which we hope is going to culminate with a big win for Clay Hendricks' club and an opportunity to advance to round 2, literally and figuratively, against the Wofford Terriers. One game at a time, though. One game at a time. Before we take our first break, a word about the Atlanta Bread Company in Cherrydale Plaza, right down the road here from campus. And I'll just remind you again, first of all, obviously the food is fantastic. The people are great. I tell you that all the time, and I don't want it to become just a matter of routine, because it's true. They are simply wonderful there. But don't forget that this coming Tuesday of next week, they'll be closed. They're going to have some construction things going on inside, going to knock it all out in one day. But sources close to the situation tell me that if you happen to wander by the front door, you might get yourself some free coffee and maybe a cookie or two as well, as an appreciation for your loyalty and just saying, hey, we apologize that we're not open today, but we got some things we got to get done. So just remember, that's Tuesday of this coming week. Atlanta Bread Company will not be open, but go get your free coffee. All right, we'll take a break and come back, and when we do, we'll get into Furman Elon. We'll talk about the awards from yesterday and get this ball rolling. Got a busy, busy show. Thank you for joining us, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Hey Furman fans, it's baseball season. Here at Ingalls, we know that as you root for the home team, sometimes you want more than just peanuts and Cracker Jack. And while we do deliver on your favorite ballpark classics, we're proud to offer a packed lineup of everything you need to make your next meal a home run. Ingalls, a proud sponsor of Furman Baseball and the official grocery store of Furman Athletics. Go Dins!
The Atlanta Bread Company at Cherrydale Point offers a dining experience that will have you coming back for more time and time again. Everything is freshly made on site, including the different varieties of bread and all the baked goodies. And the menu, Atlanta Bread Company offers a wide variety from hot soups and chili to hot and cold sandwiches and paninis. Even breakfast selections topped off with your choice of piping hot coffees. Come see for yourself. You'll love it. The Atlanta Bread Company at Cherrydale Point, proud sponsors of the Furman Paladins and the Dan Scott Show.
Looking for a good lunch spot in the Travelers Rest area? The Cafe at Williams Hardware is your place. Williams Hardware has food for the whole family, from the famous Reuben to the barbecue chicken quesadilla and their daily lunch specials, which includes the award-winning BLT on pimento cheese with pepper jelly, served Tuesday to Thursday. Williams Hardware also serves breakfast on Saturdays from 8 to 11, perfect before Furman home game. And don't forget the gift shop, which offers items for anyone on your list. Go see your friends at the Cafe at Williams Hardware, 13 South Main Street in downtown TR. Full menu and operating hours at the Cafe at WilliamsHardware.com.
Say you've got a busted phone or tablet screen. Time to get a new device? Nope. Time to give it CPR. CPR Cell Phone Repair at Cherrydale can repair almost any phone or tablet screen on the market and usually can do it same day. In fact, if you have an iPhone, the fix usually takes less than an hour. CPR Cell Phone Repair also can fix computers and gaming systems, both screens and hard drives. And they sell refurbished devices and new accessories. Stop by and see the new owner, Janet Culver, today, and check them out on Facebook. That's CPR Cell Phone Repair at Cherrydale, 864-282-9097. Give it CPR today. All right, welcome back to the show. It is Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. I'm Dan Scott. Very happy to have you along with us for the program today. Want to remind you about our friends at Hall's Chop House. They're located in downtown Greenville, the Greenville Steakhouse. And You know, as I've been telling you, if you are going to call yourself the anything in a city like Greenville, you better be able to back it up. And boy, can Hall's Chop House do it. They start with Allen Brothers Prime Steaks out of Chicago, and the rest of the menu just comes together from there. If you're looking for a meeting place, you've got a Christmas party coming up, you've got a corporate event coming up, they have all the meeting space you need. They have the menu to go along with it to make it a memorable occasion. They're open 7 nights a week for dinner. They're open on Sundays for brunch. They have live music every time the doors are open. And if the weather happens to be good even this time of year, there is a patio for your enjoyment. Hall's Chop House, downtown Greenville, the Greenville Steakhouse. All right, one thing that we normally do on Mondays that we did not do this week because of my misadventures on Sunday that I told you about, is always give you a sneak preview of the Bon Secours St. Francis Furman flashback for the coming broadcast, which is always the highlight package from the previous week. Even though Furman lost 26-20 to Samford on Saturday in the regular season finale, there were still a number of highlights turned in by Clay Hendricks' club, and here is what it sounded like on the radio with a little orchestral accompaniment. Take a listen.
Blazejowski fakes the toss, dropping the throw, down the middle of the field. Thomas Gordon makes the catch in the Bulldog territory inside the 40 and wrestled down at the 39-yard line by the free safety, Carter McManus. At the 39, option to the left side, and Blazejowski's going to keep it, turns it upfield, 30, 25, 20, 15, and down around the 14-yard line again. Carter McManus brings him down. P.J. Blazejowski was told that this is going to be a game in which, in the option, he may have to tuck it and run. And boy, how about 19 yards? They'll go everything tight. Split backs behind, or Blaze, actually the eye behind Blazejowski offset. Give it to Wilcox, touchdown. Ridge Gibson in at fullback, leading the way, and Wilcox virtually untouched. And Furman, 75 yards. They march right down the field on the opening possession. It is 6-0 Paladins. First and 10, 31-yard line, and Blazejowski option, drops out of it, throwing Gordon wide open, makes the catch at the 40. He's at the 30. It's a foot race. Caught from behind inside the 20-yard line, and there are penalty flags. That's going to be a horse collar, and that's going to add half the distance to the goal line. It was a touchdown-saving tackle, but an illegal one by Christian Stark. And the Blazers are going to roll right again. Looking, throwing back to the left, set up the tight end screen to Shumpert at the 30. He's at the 40, coming down the near sideline. 40, 35, 30, inside the 25-yard line, out of bounds. Boy, they designed that thing beautifully, all the way down to the 20-yard line. Andy Shumpert with the catch and run. Omari Williams finally ran him out. 2 seconds, 1 second. Nope, they get the snap. And they go option. Moorhead to the right, beats a tackler at the 50, at the 10, spins down to the 9, and that should be enough for a first down. What a run by Moorhead as he beat one tackler on the corner and then was able to spin through Ahmad Gooden and get the first down at the 9. Backs stacked in an eye behind Blazejowski in the pistol. They'll go option right, pitch to Moorhead. He's got the corner 40, 30 down the far sideline inside the 25, and out of bounds at the 23-yard line. Another well-designed play running the option, and Moorhead easily got to the corner for big yardage and a first down. Going for it here on 4th and inches again. Stopped on the previous drive, 28 seconds to go in the half, trying to tie the game. Hand it to Dirks. Touchdown, Paladins. Attaboy. No messing around that time. They gave it to big number 21, and he just bulldozed his way into the end zone, and we're an extra point away from tying this baby up, headed into the half. Now the slot receiver from right to left motions, comes back to the right side. Hodges dropping, rolling, throwing down the middle, and it is intercepted at the 5. Far side, that's Curse at the 10. Up to about the 12-yard line. Hodges threw a jump ball. Darius Curse able to pick it And the Paladins defense comes up with a huge turnover just when they needed it most. First and 10, purple and white at the 13-yard line. And here's Blazkowski rolling left, setting up, throwing near sideline. What a catch in traffic. That is Logan McCarter, who snatched that ball with a defender right on him. And boy, there's another example of the cannon that P.J. Blazkowski has, rolling to his left, which is the toughest throw for a quarterback, David, and he threw an absolute frozen rope. Carter wide right, Gordon in a slot. Gordon motions from left to right, and the Blaze are dropping to throw. Four-man rush, steps up to it, goes down the middle, into the seam, caught, first down, Thomas Gordon into Sanford territory at the 41-yard line. There's the snap. The kick is on the way, and it is good. So, with 5:18 to go, it is 26-20, Sanford. Hodges brings motion off the slot, right to left, takes the snap, and there's your quarterback draw, and we sniff that out. That is Raynard Ellis comes blasting in, throwing for a loss back to the 49-yard line, and the Paladins call their final timeout. And that play took all of 4 seconds. Final timeout.
Oh, and didn't it look like it was going to set up for a storybook finish? Unfortunately, that was not the case. Interception on the second play after the Paladins got the ball back. But anyway, that's your sneak peek of Saturday's Bon Secours St. Francis Furman flashback. All right, so you've got Furman and Elon coming up, two teams obviously familiar with one another because they played on in week 2 here at Paladin Stadium, the home opener, and as it turned out, our only loss at home this year. The final 34-31, fell behind 21-0, scored on 5 straight possessions to come back and take a lead and could not hang on. So it'll be very intriguing to see what round 2 looks like up in Elon, North Carolina on Saturday. That will kick off at 1 p.m. or shortly thereafter on ESPN3. Of course, we invite you to watch that. If you're not going, we'd love for you to be there. And take a radio with you. We'll try to have an in-house broadcast this time as well. But in any event, we'd love for you to be there. If you can't, watch it on ESPN3, but turn the sound down. Listen to David Cobb, Marcus McMorris, and I as we bring you the call of the game. And first time in the playoffs since 2013, and just the second time since 2006. And all this coming in Clay Hendricks' first season. And because he had such a great year and the team had such a great year, you might imagine that the accolades would follow, and they certainly did. The coaches poll, or the coaches all-conference teams, the media all-conference teams were announced yesterday, and the Paladins are well represented all across the board. The coaches team, the offensive player of the year was Devlin Hodges of Sanford. The defensive player of the year was Ahmad Gooden from Sanford. And I mean, as much of an impact as Devlin Hodges had in that game on Saturday against us, we must have called Ahmad Gooden's name 45 times, and I'm only exaggerating a little bit. He was fantastic. The freshman of the year was Kalen Riley, but coach of the year, Clay Hendricks. Jacobs Blocking Award to the best offensive lineman, Matthew Schmidt, the senior center. First team offense, you had Antonio Wilcox at a running back. You had Schmidt and Terrell Bush on the offensive line, and Andy Shumpert at tight end. No Furman representatives on the coach's first team defense or special teams. Keelan Dirks did not even make second team offense from the coach's standpoint, which is more than a little ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. Second team defense, Jalen Reed, the nose tackle, and defensive back Akil Anur were honored on the coach's team. All freshman offense from the coaches. Reed Krober on the offensive line. They have Darius Moorhead listed, and Darius Moorhead is not actually he is a redshirt freshman. Pardon me. I stand corrected. All freshman defense, the two kid middle linebackers, Raynard Ellis and Elijah McCoy, and all freshman special teams, Grayson Adkins. That was the coaches team. The media team, Player of the Year, offense, Devlin Hodges. Player of the Year, defense, Ahmad Gooden. Freshman, Kalen Riley. And the Wade Wallace Coach of the Year, Clay Hendricks. So the coaches and media agreed on that. First team offense, no Antonio Wilcox at the running back spot, but you do have Terrell Bush, Matthew Schmidt, and Andy Shumpert on that first team offense. No first team defenders or special teamers. Second team offense, though, P.J. Blazejowski at quarterback, Keelan Dirks, and Antonio Wilcox at the running back spot. Second team defense, Jalen Reed and Akil Anur. And second team special teams, there were none. And they do not do freshman of the year and so forth. So, I mean, they do freshman of the year, but they don't do an all-freshman team. Pardon me. So you can see that the Paladins well represented across the board on the coaches' teams and the media teams, and all very well deserved. It's accolades that these kids fought and earned on the field, and just glad to see that they're getting the recognition, and glad to see Clay Hendricks get the recognition that he got. I mean, look, the team was picked to finish, 7th in the league, I think, and came within a game of claiming a share of the conference schedule, went 6-2 inside the league in his first year here. That's phenomenal work, and just, happy to see them get the recognition they deserve. Now, the obvious thing that they want, as nice as that is they want to win on Saturday, and they want to keep advancing in the playoffs. As Clay said, if you're practicing on Thanksgiving, that's a good thing, because that means that you've made the postseason, and sure enough, they'll be practicing tomorrow here at Paladin Stadium. But in any event, that's a look at all the awards that were handed out yesterday, and congratulations again to Clay Hendricks and all the players who received those honors. All right, let's step out for a quick break. We'll come back, and we'll spend some time with Dave Glenn of ACCSports.com, and then after that, linebackers coach Ken Lamendola. He coached those two freshmen to the all-freshman team. We'll get his thoughts on it when we return. This is the Dan Scott Show. Do not go away.
Stuck in a state of falling behind? Struggling to keep up with your kids, finances, insurance? Then let State Farm agent Steve Borkland in Traveler's Rest help you simplify and get to a better state. Because with Steve handling your auto, home, and life insurance, you'll have more time for everything else. More money, too, because adding State Farm policies could mean earning discounts worth up to 40%. That's money Steve can help you put towards a college savings plan. Call State Farm agent Steve Borkland today and get to a better state with State Farm.
Let me tell you something, Cowboy. This rookie can really bring the heat.
He's smoky and spicy with a Chipotle style all his own.
It's a new Montgomery Inn Chipotle barbecue sauce. Make it a part of your home team.
Available now at your neighborhood grocer or online at CincyFavorites.com.
Looking for a good lunch spot in the Travelers Rest area? The Cafe at Williams Hardware is your place. Williams Hardware has food for the whole family, from the famous Reuben to the barbecue chicken quesadilla and their daily lunch specials, which includes the award-winning BLT on pimento cheese with pepper jelly, served Tuesday to Thursday. Williams Hardware also serves breakfast on Saturdays from 8 to 11, perfect before Furman home game. And don't forget their gift shop, which offers items for anyone on your list. Go see your friends at the Cafe at Williams Hardware, 13 South Main Street in downtown TR. Full menu and operating hours at the Cafe at WilliamsHardware.com.
Say you've got a busted phone or tablet screen. Time to get a new device? Nope. Time to give it CPR. CPR Cell Phone Repair at Cherrydale can repair almost any phone or tablet screen on the market and usually can do it same day. In fact, if you have an iPhone, the fix usually takes less than an hour. CPO Cell Phone Repair also can fix computers and gaming systems, both screens and hard drives. And they sell refurbished devices and new accessories. Stop by and see the new owner, Janet Culver, today, and check them out on Facebook. That's CPR Cell Phone Repair at Cherrydale, 864-282-9097. Give it CPR today. All righty, we are back here on this beautiful Thursday. I mean, it's a gorgeous day outside as we're looking across the visitor stands here at Paladin Stadium out toward Paris Mountain. Sunshine, blue skies. Still a little bit of color in the trees here, although it's they're about ready to completely fade to brown and start to fall off. I don't know if anybody else is like me, and I'll just go ahead and bring our regularly scheduled guest in, and we can talk about anything with Dave Glenn, ACCSports.com, and the syndicated David Glenn show throughout the state of North Carolina. We talk sports, we talk law, try to stay away from politics, but we can get into just about anything where life is concerned even. David, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Dan. Happy Thanksgiving to you and all of your listeners.
Yeah, same to you. I know you and I both have this thing where generally if the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, we're on the air doing our thing. So that's the way it goes. But are you this way? You get to this time of the year and the color's gone from the leaves, and pretty soon the tree's going to be bare. But you get past Thanksgiving, and all of a sudden Christmas lights are up, and there's a whole festive atmosphere and everything else, and you don't really notice that there's no color in the trees anymore. But then when January rolls around and all the Christmas lights come down, you really kind of notice how blah things are. That January is a tough month. At least it is for me.
I remember having that feeling, but your story reminds me of the old saying that all things are relative, because growing up in Pennsylvania, the winters could be pretty harsh.
Yes.
And since I moved to the South, I notice even fewer of those negative things, whether it's the blah of January or, just bitter cold or the leaves falling from the trees or piling up on the lawn. When all things being relative, I used to have to shovel the driveway of snow when my brothers and sisters were playing in the snow and throwing snowballs. So they're like celebrating a day off from school. And I remember, up there, you could have 3 or 4 different months where snow was a possibility. So it was a long stretch where I just remember shoveling some heavy snow while others were playing. And moving to the South, I don't have that hanging over my head for probably 11 months out of the year as a possibility. And that makes everything else taste better, smell better, seem better. And I'm able to kind of push through without the blahs of January impacting me much at all.
Yeah, I guess perspective is an important factor there. But still, I mean, it always seems to hit me at least the first week or so of January. There's no color anymore. All the lights are down, and it's cold. But yeah, if you're not shoveling snow for 4 months, I think you're probably feeling pretty good. Hey,
that's like people who sometimes complain about Christmas music starting too early for their likes. It's too early in November and they're already hearing Bing Crosby's Christmas hits. If that's the worst thing we have to complain about, relatively speaking, when people wake up without roofs over their heads in many parts of the world, I think we're in a pretty good place.
Amen, brother. Amen. Preach it. The latest committee poll came out. I guess this is the penultimate one, right? There'll be one more, or are there 2 more? No, there's
2 more.
2 more. Yeah, 2 more.
Yeah.
Okay. And Miami jumped Clemson into the number 2 spot. From your perspective, David, what has Mark Richt been able to do inside of 2 seasons in Miami that previous Miami coaches were not able to do? I mean, is it oversimplifying things just to say that he's been able to recruit better, or what has he done to make such a stark turnaround in this Hurricane program?
I think it's a combination of slightly better recruiting. I mean, I remember some pretty darn good classes under Al Golden or Larry Coker or Randy Shannon. But it's a combination of the incredibly steady hand of Mark Richt and building a good coaching staff under him, and taking advantage of not only the talent that he inherited, but a lot of those guys on the front 7 defensively who are kind of setting the tone for the Hurricanes were recruited by Mark Richt and his staff heading into that season last year when he was, in his first year back at his alma mater. Others had somewhat similar levels of talent, but you've watched this story unfold, Dan. Manny Diaz, as the defensive coordinator, has a magic wand this year. And the Canes in some games give up a lot of yards. And in some games, teams run on them, which is unusual given that so many future NFL players are on that defensive front. And yet they have such a belief in what they're doing They don't panic when they're giving up rushing yards. They don't panic when they're giving up first downs. And they have become as good at creating turnovers. I mean, for long stretches, they average creating 4 turnovers per game against quality opponents. That is the magic formula at every level of football and always has been. You can be the lesser team, and if you're plus 3 or 4 in turnovers, you have a heck of a chance of winning that game.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what Manny Diaz has them believing on the defensive side of the ball. And for those who know Mark Richt's personality from his decade and a half at Georgia, or maybe even all the way back to when he's, backing up future NFL quarterbacks with the Miami Hurricanes back in his playing days, he is as even-keeled, grounded to the earth, man of faith, never too high, never too low, as I have ever met in 30 years in this industry. And I really believe he's been the perfect personality fit for a Canes team that's played a lot of close games. They almost lost at Carolina. Carolina's 3-8, Dan. The Canes almost lost on their trip to Chapel Hill. I don't think they'll lose on their trip to Pitt this weekend, but I think it boils down to, talent, recruiting, plus good coaching staff led by Manny Diaz on defense, and then just that poise in the players when they need it in all these close games. That is a clear reflection of their head coach, who's always been as poised as they come.
Well, barring a stumble by Clemson against South Carolina this weekend, that ACC championship, and of course, you say Miami against Pitt. You never take anything for granted, especially since that's a Friday game. But if all goes according to plan, that's going to be an epic ACC championship game in a couple of weekends.
I agree with you, and I think Clemson's the better team, but Kelly Bryant has to get back to showing that he can make plays in the passing game down the field. I would rather have Dabo Swinney's roster than Mark Richt's roster. There's no doubt in my mind Clemson is even more dominant defensively than the Hurricanes are, although the Canes can be more opportunistic. I think I saw that Clemson visit to NC State, and the Tigers are not as good as they usually are at making plays in the passing game down the field with Deion Kane or Hunter Renfrow or somebody else. I'm sure Miami's defense is keeping track of that and will come up with a game plan to reflect that. So that would be the key when that game rolls around in my eyes. Kelly Bryant's been fantastic, and he's really dangerous with his legs, and he's been poised and composed and clutch even in his passing game. But if you don't show more of an ability to bother people down the field, that to me is the difference between what is clearly another very good season for the Clemson Tigers and the kind of elite season that they really want to have, meaning ACC champions and dangerous heading into the college football playoff.
Dave, as we look at some other things going on in the league, who is John Wolford, and how did he get to be such a great quarterback at Wake Forest?
That's a great question, Dan. I'll tell you what. It's crazy. One of the greatest Wake Forest quarterbacks ever from a time you and your listeners would probably remember was Riley Skinner.
Oh, yeah.
He happens to be from Jacksonville, Florida. And he was the guy that when Jim Grobe was the coach there, led them to that 2006 ACC title where, remember, in this state, Carolina hasn't won an ACC football title since 1980, NC State since 1989, NC State since 1979, Duke since 1989, and Wake Forest had a long drought until Jim Grobe with Riley Skinner broke through in 2006. Well, they were recruiting Jacksonville, Florida more recently, and there was a quarterback there named John Wolford, who does not have measurables that jump out at you, but just kept winning for a high-profile program there in the Sunshine State. And they just fell in love with him as a winner and as a leader. And he doesn't run faster than most guys. He's certainly not bigger than most guys. He could have easily ended up, playing at the FCS subdivision. But they signed him, and he started even as a freshman, and yet he had no supporting cast offensively. And he took an absolute beating. When you fast forward 3 years, and John will discuss this, although he's careful how he says it, because he doesn't want to alienate his teammates from 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. Translating, he got so beat up behind a bad offensive line with no desirable receiving targets and no running game to help him that, it's a miracle that he didn't end up in the hospital at the end of the year. Fast forward, now he has a good line. He has several good running backs. He had a guy named Greg Dortch who electrified the passing game as a freshman wide receiver. He got hurt. But another guy named Tabari Hines stepped in and helped him. So it's that old quarterback is not played in a vacuum conversation. And when obviously John Wolford is also better as a senior than he was as a freshman in his own right, just being more mature and smarter and stronger and faster and better at execution. But the bigger story is the supporting cast. And Dave Clawson has energized that program. He's going to his second straight bowl. He has turned around every school he's ever been at, and he's done it with the Deacs as well. And beyond the turning around of the Wake program, he has turned around the Wake offense, where they have already set, with one game against Duke this weekend and then a bowl game still to be played, they've already set the all-time Wake record for points in a season. And John Wolford's a big part of that. He'll be on a lot of people's all-ACC ballots behind Lamar Jackson of Louisville and maybe others at quarterback. But it's that John Wolford's gotten better over 4 years as a starter, plus even more so, oh my gosh, give him a couple running backs, give him some wide receivers, give him an all-ACC tight end named Cam Serenay, and just give him decent blocking compared to, the call in the cavalry from a few years ago. And that's the dramatic turnaround from really maybe the worst offense in the ACC when he got there to one of the better ones now.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of an actor I heard, not a comedian, I guess, I heard not too long ago, that talked about all the years of toiling in the nightclubs and on the road and everything else, and then finally got the break when he auditioned for, I think it was Saturday Night Live, and became a cast member. I think the line was, it took me 15 years to become an overnight sensation. And that's kind of a little bit of the John Wolford story here.
It is. There's no doubt about it. There was nothing to see in his first 3 years at Wake that would have suggested a school record point total and an all-ACC quarterback candidate. Nothing. And I watched him for 3 years. And that's not to slight him. It's to credit him for his personal improvement and really Dave Clawson changing the culture there. They're fun to watch offensively. I mean, they've got a chance of being 8-4 and going to a pretty good bowl game. If you're 8-4 in this year's ACC, you might have the third best record in the conference behind the two teams that are playing for the ACC title.
Dave Glenn, ACCSports.com, and the David Glenn Show, joining us as he always does on Wednesdays from August to April to talk Atlantic Coast Conference and whatever else we can drag out of him during a 15-minute segment or so. Well, we know what else is prevalent this time of year. We've already seen it. Heck, even at the FCS level where I reside now, David, I think I saw yesterday a graphic that there are 12 or 13 coaching changes that have already been made, or jobs that have already opened up. We're seeing it obviously playing out on the big level now, with Chip Kelly being courted by both UCLA and Florida very, very hard, and moves that have already been made. What, if anything, is going to happen in the ACC? Who's in trouble? Who's not?
Well, the guy that was under the most scrutiny going into this season, Dave Doran at NC State, has not delivered the great year that many thought the Pac was capable of. But he's delivered probably, a good enough year. They're 7-4. They're the heavy favorite against rival North Carolina this weekend. If you get to 8-4 and go to a good bowl, NC State doesn't have a long list of 9-win seasons in the history of the school. So you have a chance to finish 9-4, and certainly his job is safe, I think, regardless of how the season finishes. Everywhere else, I think we have a lot more status quo. I mean, if Jimbo Fisher ever wants to leave Florida State voluntarily, he could do that, but I don't think he's under pressure simply because of one bad year. Larry Fedora did so many good things at North Carolina through that AFAM scandal, through, other negative headlines related to an agent scandal, all of which took place before he took the Carolina job. He has so much institutional trust among the people who matter that even though the Tar Heels bottomed out this year with a 3-8 record, he's signed way into the future. And that relationship is going to sustain, the one bad year. David Cutcliffe has been so good overall through a decade at Duke, energizing that program, that he could withstand. If they lose at Wake, they'll be 5-7. So, I mean, you look around, Bronco Mendenhall at UVA went 2-10 last year. He's going to be 6-6 at worst, and that's assuming a loss to rival Virginia Tech this weekend. So I really think it's one of those, you always wonder if Paul Johnson's getting tired of Georgia Tech or they're getting tired of him.
Mm-hmm.
You always wonder if Jimbo Fisher could find the grass greener somewhere else. But, the schools that have the losing records, Duke and Carolina, even Syracuse with Dino Babers, they have more to be excited about given the bigger track record of those coaches than they are inching toward the panic button. And that means that we'll either end up with a status quo in the ACC football coaching ranks, or, somebody could always voluntarily decide to leave.
And speaking of that, there have been some national writers who've suggested that maybe Jimbo Fisher would be looking to greener pastures once this season is done. You think there's anything to that?
I think it's always a possibility. Jimbo is one of those guys who does not seem to be as emotionally attached as many coaches are. Dabo and Clemson. Not that he would never leave under any circumstances, but it would take a perfect fit for him to leave. Jimbo off the field went through a divorce a year or two ago, and that's always hard. I mean, that's difficult personally. Now you have the angst and anger, and you see the worst of your own fan base and how they can turn on you, even as a national championship coach, even as a multi-time ACC championship coach with the Seminoles. That can cause people to reevaluate where they want to be. Now, Jimbo says he's happy at Florida State. Jimbo says he's going to fight through this bad season. Heck, the Seminoles are still trying to scratch and claw their way into a bowl to protect that, up to 36 straight year bowl streaks that they have going back to the early parts of the Bobby Bowden era. I think it's worth watching with Jimbo at Florida State. It's worth watching with Paul Johnson at Georgia Tech. It's worth watching to see if somebody comes knocking on the door of one of these coaches. Dave Clawson at Wake Forest, for example, has put up a good year. Justin Fuente of Virginia Tech. Could there be a place that they find more appealing than where they are? I think that the safest bet is that nobody gets fired. But again, that doesn't mean nobody's going to leave voluntarily.
All right, finally, any basketball nuggets you want to drop on us before we get out of here?
There's a pretty cool event going on over Thanksgiving holiday, where 5-0 Duke, number 1 in the nation, and 3-0 Carolina, number 9 in the nation, they're headed to Portland for a first-of-its-kind Phil Knight Invitational. Phil Knight, the Nike guy, turned 80 years old, and they have invited 16 Nike schools to compete in 2 separate 8-school brackets. Carolina is in one, Duke is in the other, so they won't play one another. But Duke could face a Butler or a Texas on Friday. They could face a Florida or a Gonzaga on Sunday. And Carolina has a path that could involve Arkansas or Oklahoma on Friday, maybe number 4 Michigan State on Sunday, again, depending on who wins and who loses in the bracket. But it's a pretty cool event, as good, I think, as one of these early season, non-conference tournament type things go. So those are 2 of the best teams in the ACC, and they'll be in an interesting format with a lot of future NBA players and probably 10 of the 16 teams in Portland for this Phil Knight Invitational look like NCAA tournament caliber teams. So obviously the competition there is really going to be good. And UVA, Notre Dame, Miami, Louisville, those 4 others are out of the gate pretty quickly. So we know that at the least those top 6 in the ACC appear to be very, very good again.
The Furman has even been playing in, I guess, a lower division version of this Phil Knight invitation. We just played at Butler and at Duke, and I don't know if it's the same thing, but we're going post-Thanksgiving to Nashville for the weekend. So they have been this 80th birthday celebration tour for Phil Knight is going all throughout the realm of college basketball. It's going pretty deep.
It is. And by the way, we have our eyes on Furman here in North Carolina because Elon has made the FCS playoffs for only the 2nd time ever. So I'm sure you could break down the Paladins against the Fighting Phoenix on the gridiron.
Well, if I know a guy who does a radio show up there, and if he'd like a segment, I can help him out. I don't suppose you're going to break out the Dave Glenn tailgate tour and be there for some postseason football on Saturday.
Well, it's funny. We've been to Elon this year.
Have you?
And I actually visited as they hosted #1 James Madison on my way to another tailgate tour stop because I've met so many really good people there. But we always include State Carolina, whether it's in Chapel Hill or Raleigh as it is this year. We always include that on the big tailgate tour. So I will be otherwise occupied in Raleigh on Saturday with the big tailgate tour as Elon faces Furman in that FCS playoff showdown.
Yeah, well, I will be there calling it for the Furman IMG Sports Network and getting ready to talk to a young linebacker coach named Ken Lamendola here a minute ago who coached 2 freshman linebackers to the all-freshman team. So we got a lot of stuff going on here. Hey, Dave, tell everybody about the best way for them to catch what you guys are doing there with all your ACC coverage.
Yeah, you could always go to davidglennshow.com if you want to see where all my affiliates are. Many of them have streams for anyone who wants to tune in from noon to 3. And then all the magazine stuff, all the website stuff, any ACC-related audio, and, of course, analytics, football coverage, basketball coverage, recruiting coverage. It's all at the website, accsports.com. We still have a bi-weekly newsletter for those who like that. We have quarterly glossy magazines for those who love the annuals. Obviously, the basketball one is out there. But that's the starting point, and our Grand Central Station, as I call it, accsports.com.
All right, my friend, listen, happy Thanksgiving to the Glenn household, and we'll look forward to talking to you next week.
Thank you, Dan. Thankful for you, man. Appreciate it.
All right, brother,
Happy
you too.
Thanksgiving
Bye-bye.
You and your listeners.
That's Dave Glenn, accsports.com, and the syndicated David Glenn Show. When we come back, you can see him sitting right here. It's Ken Lamendola, the linebackers coach here at Furman. We'll talk about those 2 kids and if they've driven him crazy over the course of the last couple of months. All that and much more as the show continues right after this. Don't go away.
Looking for a good lunch spot in the Travelers Rest area? The Cafe at Williams Hardware is your place. Williams Hardware has food for the whole family, from the famous Reuben to the barbecue chicken quesadilla and their daily lunch specials, which includes the award-winning BLT on pimento cheese with pepper jelly, served Tuesday to Thursday. Williams Hardware also serves breakfast on Saturdays from 8 to 11, perfect before Furman home game. And don't forget their gift shop, which offers items for anyone on your list. Go see your friends at the Cafe at Williams Hardware, 13 South Main Street in downtown TR. Full menu and operating hours at the Cafe at WilliamsHardware.com.
Say you've got a busted phone or tablet screen. Time to get a new device? Nope. Time to give it CPR. CPR Cell Phone Repair at Cherrydale can repair almost any phone or tablet screen on the market and usually can do it same day. In fact, if you have an iPhone, the fix usually takes less than an hour. CPO Cell Phone Repair also can fix computers and gaming systems, both screens and hard drives. And they sell refurbished devices and new accessories. Stop by and see the new owner, Janet Culver, today and check them out on Facebook. That's CPR Cell Phone Repair at Cherrydale, 864-282-9097. Give it CPR today.
Hey, Furman fans, it's baseball season. Here at Ingalls, we know that as you root for the home team, sometimes you want more than just peanuts and Cracker Jack. And while we do deliver on your favorite ballpark classics, we're proud to offer a packed lineup of everything you need to make your next meal a home run. Ingalls, a proud sponsor of Furman Baseball and the official grocery store of Furman Athletics. Go Dins!
The Atlanta Bread Company at Cherrydale Point offers a dining experience that will have you coming back for more time and time again. Everything is freshly made on site, including the different varieties of bread and all the baked goodies. And the menu, Atlanta Bread Company offers a wide variety from hot soups and chili to hot and cold sandwiches and paninis. Even breakfast selections topped off with your choice of piping hot coffees. Come see for yourself. You'll love it. The Atlanta Bread Company at Cherrydale Point, proud sponsors of the Furman Paladins and the Dan Scott Show. $10:50 and down the stretch we come. Final segment of the show, and because it's Thanksgiving weekend or week and we're traveling on Friday and Saturday, It's the final show and segment of the week, so that's why you get the usual Friday serenade here on this Wednesday edition of the program. Don't forget, coming up after we wrap up this interview, our Thanksgiving tradition, this time able to also show the video, something we've been doing, going back to probably 2003, 2004 when I was over at Clemson every year, and that's the great turkey drop episode of WKRP in Cincinnati, Thanksgiving tradition here on the show. But the young man joining us now is developing, like the rest of this team, what they hope is going to be their own Thanksgiving tradition. Clay Hendricks said on Sunday, if you're practicing on Thanksgiving morning, that is a good thing because that means that you've made the postseason. Ken Lamendola, the linebackers coach, along with the rest of this staff, will be doing just that tomorrow. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well.
Pull that microphone. Pull it up. There we go.
Much better.
There we go.
Doing well. I appreciate you having me on.
Well, thank you for spending some time with us. It's been a interesting year, hasn't it?
No question. The rough start where I think the first two games could have went either way. NC State played them tight in the first half, and then to respond how we did is credit to the guys buying into what we're preaching. It's been fun. No question about it.
When Clay Hendricks approached you about coming here and joining his staff, coaching the linebackers, what was it about him? What was it about Furman that you said, yeah, I want to be a part of that?
Well, first and foremost, I never played for Clay because I played linebacker in college, but I was at the Air Force Academy when he was, obviously, when I played and coached. And just being around him, I know two things, that he was a great man and he was a heck of a coach, and every one of my friends and teammates who played for him, they loved him. And he got the most out of other guys. So that was probably the biggest thing because I trusted him. And then top it off a place like this where the resources you have with the location, academics, and obviously the winning tradition, it was an easy decision. And I'm fortunate for the opportunity.
Weather's a little better too, isn't it?
No question. I'm getting used to the sunshine.
Let's talk about this this linebacker core. That's your point of emphasis. And the season started off. You had some experience. Dylan Woodruff was the senior, and he was going to kind of anchor the inside linebacker spot for you. You had some talent, maybe a little unproven, especially with Chris Washington on the outside, who did not have a single tackle a year ago. But you have Joe Farrar coming back. You got A.K. Olasanya. So, all right, we got some pieces to work with here. And then things begin to happen, and happen kind of rapidly, didn't they?
No doubt about it.
All those plans.
Yes. Like you said, Dylan, his fifth-year senior, he was on that championship team in 2013. He played actually and was recruited as a quarterback, then played a little safety, and then made his way down the linebacker. His story is pretty cool and unique in itself, but he is a great young man. I was fortunate enough. He bought into everything I had to say. He was a leader in my room, leader of our defense, and he still is, even with his unfortunate injury that he has suffered against Wofford. He's a second linebacker coach. He takes the guys, and he relates to them well, and I'm fortunate to have him. Did I think he's going to go down second quarter in Wofford? No, sir. It's a frustrating ending for his career, but we're still playing football, and he's still leading. So.
By the way, I have to take one little interruption here. I have to say hello to my granddaughter Annie, who for somehow my wife Angela has gotten her to sit still long enough. She'll be 3 in just a few weeks.
That's awesome.
Sit still long enough to see Grandpa, or she calls me Buddha. That's another story for another time. But on the computer screen here. So hello, Annie. Now go play with Mimi. Yeah, so you have all these plans, and as we said, Dylan goes down. AK ended up separating the elbow? Yeah. So he goes down. So we go into the Colgate game, and we're going to start two kids at the inside linebacker spots named Raynard Ellis and Elijah McCoy, neither of whom were recruited here originally as linebackers, right?
Renard was.
Okay, he was.
Correct. And even before that, Alex Birch.
Yeah.
He's a sophomore from Knoxville, Tennessee. he had an issue with his neck and shoulder that was been nagging him for quite some time, and they did some more digging and it didn't get worse. And he is unfortunately not able to play again. So there's 3 guys that all went down for this madness to happen. And as you said, Elijah was actually recruited as a safety,
right,
and Renard a linebacker.
And here they are starting at Colgate, and they've been starting ever since.
Yes, sir. I'm very, very fortunate to have 2 kids that love the game, take coaching, do everything they're asked for. Obviously, it's frustrating because one played a cornerback mostly, and Elijah in high school. And Renard is just college ball with the new system and embracing what we're trying to accomplish on a defense. It's a big learning curve, especially at this position when you're expected to know everything. Run fits, coverage-wise, how that affects you with the adjustments we have. So there's a lot to learn as a freshman.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that learning process in a minute, but I know early on, as we got a sense of the athleticism and the talent and the ability of these kids, talking with Chad Staggs, defensive coordinator, and even with Clay, they both kind of said the same thing. So they got a lot to learn, but there's something to be said for the ability to see the ball and go tackle the ball.
Absolutely, especially the mindset as a freshman where this is big boy football. You're not playing against so-so competition as you were in high school. So that was the biggest thing as far as a mindset. With Elijah, too, he's the first time he's played in the box in his whole life. And it's a different story coming downhill from maybe 12 yards. When you're in the secondary, then you're 4 or 5 yards away in the box, and you got to go stick a fullback. It's a different mindset. So as far as just knowing what to do is one thing, but in actually having to do it and embrace the physicality of this game, it's a different story.
So take us back to that first week of practice when you knew that was going to be the case leading into Colgate. What was the approach? What was the game plan with these 2 kids?
We wanted them to play fast. So Coach Staggs did a great job, the rest of our coaching staff as well, of trying to make it simple and putting them in positions to be successful, where they didn't have to think per se. They could just go and play. And sure enough, Renard was player of the week and had 16 tackles. It was pretty special to see.
How far as being able to get them up to speed on everything from the nuances of linebacker to what Chad expects from that position, how far have they come from Colgate to where we sit right now?
Night and day, and that's a credit to them and the effort they've put in. As I said, they're bought in, as well as everyone else in that room. We moved another recruited safety, Jack Owen, to linebacker as well, and he's our second will, and he's picked it up. He's never played it, and these kids, I'm very fortunate to be around them. Good kids on and off the field, love the game of football, and it's evident with what we were able to do in defense.
Yeah, I think Clay said that in the win over the Citadel that Jack Owen probably played about 30 plays.
Yes, sir.
Against that option-oriented offense.
Yes, sir. He went to a high school in Georgia, Marist, I guess, where they ran that. So he's got some experience, but not at that position per se.
Yeah.
As we discussed, but it's been fun. Still have ways to go, but the potential is definitely high.
What was the challenge like for you? How many headaches did you walk away with?
No comment. No, I'm kidding.
I think that probably answers the question right there.
No, it was tough, especially what I tried to relate to the secondary guys was of how it makes sense from what they knew from the back end of things. You're fitting this way because when you're at safety, X, Y, Z. So that's how I tried to approach it with them. And Renard, he was always been a linebacker, played some fullback and running back as well on offense. But he has some natural instincts that you can't teach. He's a tough kid, will come downhill and he'll hit you. It's just more him. It was just playing within a scheme.
It's just been so fascinating to watch, and I know that you had to be extremely happy when you saw both those young men named to the all-freshman team.
Yeah, absolutely, and they deserve all that. Future is bright. They have ways to go, but they deserved it. It's been fun coaching them. It's made me a better coach. I definitely how to approach I mean, I don't know if I'll ever be in the situation again where I have 2 true freshmen starting at whatever position I'm coaching.
But now you won't get caught off guard if you do, right?
There you go. Been there, done that. But it's a credit to the kids. They deserve it all.
You know, and you have to we get so caught up in the moment, and Clay and I have had the conversation a couple of times of how quickly expectations changed for this team among the fan base, and I guess even inside that locker room, from the 0-3 start to people would have been disappointed if we didn't make the playoffs, and this is coming off of a 3-8 year and a coaching change and everything else, and all this happened, you know, almost immediately, starting with the Colgate game. But bigger picture, which I know you have to be able to think that way as well as they've played, as quickly as they've come along, you got to be excited about an off season coming up where you're going to be able to get them bigger, faster, and stronger, and you're going to be able to do more of the quote-unquote linebacker book work, and then see what kind of players they come back next year when they can go through a spring practice and go through a full fall camp at that position.
You hit the nail on the head, and it's not just at linebacker too. Coach Miller's done a fantastic job with a very, very young defensive line as well, and that this offseason will be huge for those guys, especially the weight they need to get. As far as now they know the scheme, it's just doing it bigger, stronger, and faster. Same thing with Coach Williams and Coach Vaughn at their respective positions. It's huge for us because we are a very young defense. We're losing 3 seniors, and 2 of them were inside linebackers. So it's been a work in progress, and we expect to get a lot better in the offseason, as you mentioned.
One of the things that Clay mentioned after the Samford loss when we did his show on Sunday was that, and the word he used was exposed. He thought that maybe we got exposed a little bit, and by that he meant that as great as this run has been, and we hope that it's going to continue, we still are a football team that needs to get bigger, needs to get stronger, needs to get more experienced, and because of those factors against a team like Samford, which has all of those things, if you don't execute, you're just not good enough talent-wise and strength-wise to go out there and still overcome that many mistakes and beat somebody.
I think Coach hit spot on, especially on defense I could speak to. We just missed opportunities. We didn't fit the run game well, mistakes that cost us big plays, and the biggest thing for us was 4th down. I think Samford was 4 for 4 on 4th down.
Yeah.
And it was 3rd and 9 in addition on the 1-yard line or 2-yard line, I believe, and we couldn't get off the field, and that they went down and scored 6 after that.
All things being equal, it's just been a phenomenal year. The turnaround for this program has been, I think, beyond what anybody could have expected. You know, a new coach comes in, there's always a certain level of excitement, and I said this from the day that he walked onto campus here, and part of it, I guess, has to do with me being in this building on a daily basis. But Clay, he's the coach that this fan base wanted, so the excitement seemed to be ratcheted up 3 or 4 notches. And then to have this happen in year 1, so many good things are happening with this program off the field. So many good things are happening in recruiting. And I know it's a momentum thing that you want to carry over.
Absolutely. And when Coach Hendricks first got here, his message to the guys was, we expect to win now. Obviously, the past couple years, they struggled a little bit, but we didn't want to use that as a crutch or an excuse by any means. Our expectations, starting with Coach Hendricks on down, we wanted to win. We wanted to win now. And our guys bought into that. And I think, obviously, the first 2 games didn't go as planned, but I think in the long run, it taught us how to fight, and we appreciate it more with starting slow and how the kids were able to fight and respond moving forward.
Yeah. Well, one of those 2 losses, you get a chance for redemption. Mike Buddy dubbed it Redemption Tour, hashtag Redemption Tour on Twitter. The 34-31 loss to Elon in week 2 in the final play of the game. So you've got that knowledge of them just like they have it of you. What's the key from a defensive standpoint? And I'll ask you at least that part of it. What's the key to slowing an offense that had some success against us in week 2?
We have to stop the run. Stop the run, we'll have a chance to be successful. In addition to that, eliminate big plays because they had a few with mistakes in our coverage-wise and third downs. And we need to generate turnovers when we can too. Obviously, that's for every game. But biggest thing for this game is stop the run, play assignment sound football, and just play with passion and a swag that we've developed later on in the season that I don't think we had at that time.
You make it sound so easy.
I wish that was the case.
Yeah, well, you know, easy on paper, easy to say.
Yes, sir.
My former pastor of mine, would, you know, he would be preaching and teaching a particularly difficult subject or something, and he would say, "Easy preaching, hard living." So sometimes I think it follows through in other areas of life as well.
Yes, sir.
Well, listen, congratulations on the team success. Congratulations on the success of the linebacker core, and especially the honors that Elijah and Raynard got. It's been fantastic to watch, and hopefully we're not done for a while.
Yes, sir. It's an honor to be here, but that's not the end goal. We want to keep playing.
I got you. Ken, thank you.
I appreciate it.
That is linebackers coach Ken Lamendola joining us here on the program this morning. All right, as promised, we will hold the show over for a few extra minutes. We already have, in fact. But going all the way back to, like I said, maybe 2003, 2004, the show prior to Thanksgiving, the last show that I did every year, it became a tradition to play what was then just audio clips of the WKRP in Cincinnati Great Turkey Drop episode, which is has to be one of the top 10, maybe top 5 funniest episodes of all time of any sitcom. It was from season 1, and it's actually called Turkeys Away. Well, through the magic of this operating program we have now, not only can you hear it, but you can also see it. And here is basically the funniest section of the Great Turkey Drop, or Turkeys Away, from WKRP in Cincinnati. Enjoy it, and we'll be back to close out the show in about 5 minutes.
Oh, yes, I can see it now. It's a helicopter, and it's coming this way. A helicopter? It's flying something behind it. I can't quite make it out. It's a large banner, and it says, Happy Thanksgiving from W. Ladies and gentlemen, what a sight. The copter seems to be circling the parking area now. I guess it's looking for a place to land. No, something just came out of the back of the helicopter. It's a dark object, perhaps a skydiver, plummeting to the earth from only 2,000 feet into the air. Second to the third. No parachutes yet. Those can't be skydivers. I can't tell just yet what they are, but... Oh, my God, they're turkeys! Oh, Johnny, can you get this? Oh, they're crashing to the earth right in front of our eyes! One just went through the windshield of a parked car! This is terrible. The cars running around, pushing each other. Oh, my goodness! Oh, the humanity! Oh, people are running about. The turkeys are hitting the ground like sacks of wet cement. I don't know how much longer the crowd is running for their lives. I think I'm going to step inside. I can't stay out here and watch this any longer. No, I can't go in there. Children are searching for their mothers, and not since the Hindenburg tragedy has there been anything like this. I don't know how much longer I can hold my position here, Johnny. The crowd...
Les, are you there? Les isn't there. Thanks for that on-the-spot report, Les. You just tuned in. The Pinedale Shopping Mall has just been bombed with live turkey. Film at 11.
Should have worked.
Can I help you?
No, I'm fine. Sir?
It was the most unusual promotion idea I ever heard of. Never been anything else like it.
No, I don't suppose there has.
I thought it would work. I planned this thing right down to the last detail. It was perfect. Where'd you get those birds? Les, are you okay? I don't know. A man and his 2 children tried to kill me. After the turkeys hit the pavement, the crowd kind of scattered, but some of them tried to attack me. I had to jam myself into a phone booth. Then Mr. Carlson had the helicopter land in the middle of the parking lot. I guess he thought he could save the day by turning the rest of the turkeys loose. Gets pretty strange after that.
Strange.
Yeah, right.
No, Les, come on now, tell us the rest.
I really don't know how to describe it. It was like the turkeys mounted a counterattack. It was almost as if they were organized. As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly.
That in and of itself is one of the great lines in all of sitcom television. As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly. Listen, thank you for your continued support of the program. I dropped a little thing in the Facebook Live section with Thanksgiving and now Christmas coming up. If you're a business owner, message me, and I would like to make you a generous offer that I hope you can't refuse as far as advertising, give you a chance to take the show for a test run, and then also, the way this works, you write the check now and you can claim it on the tax season that's coming up. But regardless, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you since kind of rejuvenating myself with this program over about the last year and trying to rediscover the passion. And it's coming. It is coming. I think that I owe it all to you because you guys have been a fantastic audience, and I just want it to grow. I want it to keep growing and keep moving forward. Have a great Thanksgiving weekend with your family. I'll talk to you again Friday from Nashville for Furman basketball, and then Saturday from Elon for playoff football. But I do get to spend tomorrow with my family and thanking God for everything that he's done for me. Take time to do the same. We still live in the greatest country in the world. We have a lot of problems, but we also have a whole lot of freedom. Don't ever take that for granted. Until Monday show-wise and until Friday from Nashville for Furman basketball, I'm Dan Scott saying God bless you and so long, everybody. We will talk to you again, and happy Thanksgiving.